Hello and welcome to Nightline. I'm Raymond Goh. The headlines. Post-mortem on Nora Ann Querin continues. Report to be released on Thursday. And teaching of Jawi in vernacular schools to proceed, subject to PTA consent. Thanks for joining us. The findings of a post-mortem on Irish teenager Nora Ann Querin, whose remains were found in a ravine in Pantai Hills near Seremban, will be announced on Thursday. Negeri Sembilan Police Deputy Chief SAC Cik Zakaria Othman said the medical team was still in the midst of carrying out their work.
Mereka masih menjalankan bedah siasat. Jadi setakat ini saja yang saya dapat maklumkan pengembangan sehingga waktu ini. Saya membuat keputusan setelah mendapat daripada arahan dari Ketua Perdana Negeri untuk membuat another press release esok. Waktu dan masa akan kita maklumkan.
Cik Zakaria declined to answer any questions. The examination by a team of senior pathologists led by Dr. Siu Shui Feng from Kuala Lumpur Hospital started at about 11:45 a.m. A media conference was earlier scheduled for 5 p.m. to announce the initial results of the examination, but was postponed to 8 p.m. While post-mortem examinations generally take a long time, the fact that this one has taken so long has left many questions lingering in the minds of all following the case. The case itself has left many unanswered questions, the biggest being what actually happened to Nora Ann. Nora Ann Querin's family will press for an inquest into the teen's death if the post-mortem examination provides evidence to support this. Her family's lawyer, Sankara N. Nair, said they were awaiting the results of the medical examination before deciding the next course of action.
Procedurally, what happens is a copy of the post-mortem report will go to the AG's chambers. And it's for the AG then to decide to instruct whatever there is to be. It is for him to decide whether there is a need for an inquest. Normally, sudden death or of such nature would invite an inquest. But then again, it's on the evidence that is presented in the post-mortem report and other investigations which the police, I'm sure, are doing, will then require the AG to consider whether he needs an.
He was speaking to the media at the hospital Tuanku Jaafar mortuary on Wednesday, where the post-mortem was being conducted. Sankara said the family was distraught after they confirmed that the body discovered on Tuesday was that of their 15-year-old daughter with special needs who had gone missing on August 4th. Meanwhile, Nora Ann's family thanked all those involved in the search for the girl. The family, in a statement, said Nora has brought together people of various backgrounds, including those from other nations. The statement was released via the Lucy Blackman Trust, a charity organization which manages media-related affairs for British nationals in crisis overseas. According to the family, Nora has brought people together, especially from France, Ireland, Britain and Malaysia. Nora Ann, 15, the eldest of 3 siblings of a French-Irish couple, went missing the day the family checked into the Dusun Rainforest Resort in Seremban, Negeri Sembilan on August 4th. Her disappearance sparked off a massive search and rescue operation. The search came to a tragic end when the body was found about 2.5 kilometers from the resort where she was last seen. In another development, officials from the Welfare Department are on standby to provide counselling services to Nora's family. Deputy Women, Family and Community Development Minister Hannah Yeoh said she and several counsellors were at the Tuanku Jaafar Hospital on Tuesday night after news broke that the remains of the 15-year-old girl had been found.
Kita juga faham sekarang ini keluarga memerlukan wang untuk mereka menerima berita inilah. Jadi kita nak berikan mereka ruang to grieve, okey, dan kementerian kita sedia membantu dari segi kaunseling untuk keluarga, okey, dan kita juga menyampaikanlah ucapan takziah bagi pihak kementerian kita kepada keluarga mereka lah, dan kita minta orang-orang.
The Home Minister, meanwhile, expressed his sympathy and condolences to Nora's family. In his Facebook statement on Wednesday, Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said he was deeply saddened by the latest development on Nora N, whose body was found on Tuesday. He also extended his sympathy and condolences to the whole family over the tragedy. Tan Sri Muhyiddin also thanked the search and rescue team and all quarters involved in the operation to find the girl for the past 10 days. Meanwhile, the Raja Permaisuri Agong Tunku Azizah Aminah Maimunah Iskandaria joined other leaders and Malaysians in expressing their condolences and grief. Her Majesty, via her Twitter account, extended her condolences to the family and prayed that God give them strength in their hour of need. Irish President Michael D. Higgins also expressed his condolences to the missing French-Irish teen's family and gratitude to the authorities involved in the search for Nora. Irish Prime Minister Leo Varadkar also shared his condolences to the family via Twitter. In a joint statement, French Europe and Foreign Affairs Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian and Secretary of State for Europe and Foreign Affairs Jean-Baptiste Lemoyne expressed condolences and offered their assistance to shed light on the missing teen's death. The statement also said that the French Ministry of Europe and Foreign Affairs Crisis and Support Centre and its consulate in Kuala Lumpur remain at the family's disposal. The Education Ministry announced that vernacular schools will teach only JavaScript as a basic level and not Hut calligraphy. This will only be done with the consent of the students, parents, as well as each school's Parent-Teacher Association or PTA. The ministry in a statement said this was the decision reached by the Cabinet on Wednesday following heated public debates over the teaching of the script within the Bahasa Melayu syllabus in primary schools. It said in its latest discussion, the Cabinet had decided to maintain its decision last week that the JavaScript introduction remains, but this will be implemented only if agreed upon by the PTA and the parents and students. It added it was also decided that the segment would be named Introduction to JavaScript and would only be taught on an elective basis to students in Year 4 in 2020, Year 5 in 2021, and Year 6 in 2021 in vernacular schools. Among the decisions that the Cabinet had retained include the segment would only cover 3 pages of the subject's textbook instead of the proposed 6. It also maintained that Introduction to JavaScript would not be evaluated in tests and examinations. The ministry also expressed hope that the Cabinet's decision on the matter would no longer be inaccurately depicted to the extent of causing confusion among the public. The issue also came to a boil several days ago when Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad described Dong Zhong as racist for objecting to any move to foster unity. The Kuala Lumpur High Court on Wednesday adjourned Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak's SRC International Sdn Bhd trial to Monday as the former Prime Minister is down with conjunctivitis. Justice Muhammad Nazlan Muhammad Ghazali allowed Datuk Sri Najib's lead counsel, Tan Sri Muhammad Shafi Abdullah's application to postpone the trial on medical grounds. The prosecution did not object to the application. The court was told that Datuk Sri Najib was granted a 3-day medical leave until Friday. Deputy Public Prosecutor V. Sitambaram also supported the defence's application for adjournment due to Datuk Sri Najib's medical condition. The prosecution was supposed to continue with examination-in-chief of its last witness, MACC Special Operations Division Senior Assistant Commissioner Rosli Hussein, on Wednesday, as the 1MDB's trial is scheduled to commence on Monday. Datuk Sri Najibs 66 is facing 3 counts of criminal breach of trust, 1 count of abusing his position, and 3 counts of money laundering involving SRC International Sdn Bhd funds amounting to 42 million ringgit. He's also facing 4 counts of corruption and 21 counts of money laundering involving 1MDB funds amounting to 2.28 billion ringgit. The Shah Alam Sessions Court on Wednesday has set September 17th to hear a notice of motion filed by the prosecution to transfer former Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi's case to the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court. The case involved 33 corruption charges faced by Datuk Sri Dr. Ahmad Zahid. Judge Rosila Saleh fixed the date after the prosecution requested for an adjournment, as they were awaiting a decision on a review application that was filed last week at the Kuala Lumpur High Court, which had set August 28th for the hearing. The review application was over the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court's decision made last July 31st in allowing 7 more corruption charges against Datuk Sri Dr. Ahmad Zahid to be transferred to the Shah Alam Court. On June 27th, the Bagan Datuk Member of Parliament pleaded not guilty to 33 charges of corruptly receiving 42.76 million ringgit from a company in relation to Malaysia's foreign visa system, VLN. The bribe was allegedly an inducement for him as the Home Affairs Minister to extend the company's contract as a VLN one-stop center in China and to maintain an agreement with the company to supply VLN integrated system paraphernalia. Man arrested for bullying female motorist. This and more home stories after this break. Welcome back. A 27-year-old man has been arrested for allegedly bullying a female motorist in another road rage incident at Cheras last Saturday. The man surrendered himself at the Cheras District Police Headquarters Tuesday afternoon after the 30-year-old female motorist lodged a police report. In the incident that went viral on social media, the woman was travelling with her family on Jalan Yaakob Latif when a man in a Toyota Vios neared her vehicle and started scolding her. She, however, ignored the man who tailed her car before overtaking her car at Buletin Cheras and abruptly stopped his vehicle. The victim failed to avoid the car and ended up rear-ending the Toyota Vios. Outraged, the suspect then got out of his car and hurled insults at the victim. He also broke the side mirror before throwing it back at the car. The suspect has been remanded for investigation under the Penal Code for committing mischief. The Kuala Lumpur High Court awarded an additional 500,000 ringgit in damages to newspaper publisher The Edge Communications Sdn Bhd over the suspension of the newspaper by the previous government for its reports on 1MDB 4 years ago. Justice Nordin Hassan allowed the Edge's appeal to seek exemplary damages over the government's 3-month suspension from July to September 2015. The judge also maintained the High Court Registrar's decision to award 11.2 million ringgit to the Edge on their loss of income as a result of the suspension. However, the court dismissed the Edge's bid to obtain aggravated and constitutional damages over the suspension. The court also ordered the government to pay costs of 15,000 ringgit to the newspaper publisher. The Edge was suspended for 3 months beginning July 2015 on the grounds that its reports on 1MDB were prejudicial to public order and national security and likely to alarm public opinion. The suspension was revoked by the High Court in September that year, shortly before the suspension was supposed to end. Still in the city centre, a Bangladeshi man was killed after a reinforcement bar pierced his stomach at a construction site near Pantai Medical Centre. The victim, identified as 41-year-old Hok Ainal, died on the spot. According to the Fire and Rescue Department Operations Centre in Jalan Hang Tuah, the man was moving the reinforcement bars using a crane when the incident was reported at 1:43 p.m. Paramedics from the University Malaya Medical Center confirmed that the man had died at the scene of the incident. The authorities have found a body approximately 5 nautical miles off Kuala Kemaman in Terengganu, which they believe is that of one of the 2 Singaporeans who went missing while kayaking in Endau waters near Mersing, Johor last week. According to officials, the body was discovered by local fishermen east of Kuala Kemaman, about 100 nautical miles away from where the 2 Singaporeans were last seen on Thursday. It was earlier reported that 2 Singaporeans identified as Tan Eng Soon, 62, and Pua Giok Tin, 57, have been missing after drifting away from a group of 13 other Singaporeans who were kayaking with them around Endau Islands at about 5:40 p.m. on Thursday. A search and rescue mission involving 1 aircraft and 3 marine boats was then activated on Friday in search of the 2 missing Singaporeans. The air quality in Miri, Sarawak continued to be at hazardous and very unhealthy levels on Wednesday, recording an air pollutant index reading of 361 and 268 at the Industrial Training Institute, ILP, and Kuala Baram air monitoring stations respectively. The Environment Department in a statement said the hazardous and unhealthy air hovering over Miri was caused by ongoing peat fires located close to air monitoring stations. The department said the API was also at a very unhealthy level in Sri Aman, caused by several peat fires in the area and made worse by transboundary haze from the forest fires in Kalimantan in Indonesia. Transboundary haze have caused an increase in API readings in the west coast of Peninsular Malaysia and also western Sarawak, adding that these episodes have contributed to the country's air quality status to drop to moderate level. Wildfires continue to rage on Greek island. Details after this break. Over in Greece, the central part of Evia Island was declared in state of emergency after it was hit with 56 wildfires in the space of just 24 hours, which so far has scorched forested areas and forced the evacuation of 4 villages. So far, no fatalities were reported, and at least 8 people have been slightly injured. It is also understood that the blaze, which broke out in the early hours of Tuesday, had not been contained as firefighters' efforts were hampered by strong winds in the area and temperatures that have now hit 40 degrees Celsius. Some 280 firefighters, volunteers, soldiers, 6 water-dropping planes and 6 helicopters have been deployed to the island, along with 1 more helicopter coordinating the air support. Greece has also called on the EU for assistance, with 4 firefighting planes being sent from Croatia and Italy to aid in the efforts. The warnings to remain indoors even extend to as far as Athens, despite the initial blazes starting in the Pasna region.